They should do what DeSean Jackson did and go to Auschwitz and educate himself, because that's not too on the nose.
Jesus. Why do we even look towards athletes?
Why did he do that? Why did he tweet?
Because he's an idiot. He plays football. He can run fast and catch balls.
But really, why even tweet that out? Like, dude.
I know. As someone who's very picky with what I blabber all over the internet, I just can't imagine someone who's worth millions of dollars being so bored that he even is on Twitter.
He made a mistake there, and we're in like this cancel culture with everybody. Nobody can make a mistake if you're a famous person or you have any kind of success. He made a mistake. Let's see how he goes forward and learn from it. Look what Michael Vick was able to do.
Dude, Andy Pettit.
His career, and now he's an advocate, and he's a genuinely good person. Like, I think he's a genuinely good person who just didn't realize what he was doing because it was his culture growing up. And there's nothing what he did was wrong, but there's nothing wrong with him. I mean, he came around, and canceling people out like that, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I always thought
touching
you could line up every living being on this planet, give them a late night talk show, then dig through all their social media and their phones and their nonsense and find something that would get them fired. Every human on Earth.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's so fucked up. It has to be case by case.
Safe.
He made a mistake. He had a weak moment, and he was an idiot. And maybe, he wasn't educated on this part, and he didn't really know.
Of course, he was not.
So now he's educated on it, and he's making amends by it. So, we don't need to kill the guy and ruin his career. Just educate him.
I don't think his career is going to be ruined over this. It's weird how like it's selective. But I think DeSean Jackson is going to be okay. I don't know why, but
his hamstrings better fucking hold up for this season. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he better perform.
On one of the 80 million threads that I'm on Bob with, somebody said something about DeSean kind of trying to egg on Bob and I, because I think we're the only Eagles fans.
We're the two knowledgeable Eagles fans on the thread.
There you go. And Bob's response was, he runs fast and he catches passes. What else do you want from him?
It's so it's funny you say that, but like it's true. At the end of the day, you can't expect a lot of professional athletes to be like these perfect role models that they're supposed to be, because their job is to rip people's heads off. And I'm not defending any of it, but it's like it's not. They've only known football like their entire life, usually from like a bad place to get out of. They're kids. They're kids.
They're grown men's bodies, and they've had their asses padded their whole life because they were very good at football.
I would mess something up. We all would. If I were like 18 and became famous, I would totally say something that would like get me killed in today's culture, just because you're not thinking. You're a kid, so you can't expect these guys to be like scholars.
Back to the slavery thing. I always try to think like, well, if I was alive back then, would I have been pissed they were trying to take our slaves away? Because to me, that's like the norm. Like, imagine if I was like 15, 16, and it was like we always had them, and it's like they're trying to take them away. Well, what are they going to do without us paying them to do our field?
It was institutional, and it started in the 1600s in this country, and it went on until the Civil War. And then it also went on after the Civil War with like sharecroppers and things like that, where you kept the former slaves in poverty, so they had to work for somebody.
And how can't you see that where we are now is just a sluggish evolution of that?
Well, it really
Good
fell
point.
down.
You just blew my fucking mind. It's a sluggish evolution of that. It is.
It's like, oh my God, we're only here.
I would even say it's not even sluggish. It's been like molasses in the winter in Pennsylvania.
140 years later, we're still having debates about the Confederate flag. Like, come on.
And we're not like all just not seeing that way.
No. And you look at, how the Reconstruction was supposed to go, and President Andrew Johnson, and he got impeached over this, wasn't removed from office, but he got impeached over it. The first president to get impeached, he was not following the Reconstruction Acts. And he really set us way back in history, because Grant was still trying to quell he had the Union Army in the South still trying to quell, the hate crimes against the blacks, because, these blacks couldn't even go and vote because the whites would, in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, they would terrorize them when they try to go vote, when they try to speak their voice.
Is that where he's from?
Who? Oh, Johnson? No, Johnson's from Tennessee.
Okay, sorry.
Well, and he was Lincoln's vice president. He became president when Lincoln was assassinated.
And he was impeached, right?
Yeah, he was impeached in 1867, I believe. And Lincoln's cabinet stayed in place, but you started to see people like flying out, similar to like with Trump. Like,
right.
I'm not putting up with this guy.
Right, this guy follows too many rules.
I mean, the night Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson, they had to wake him up in his room in a hotel, 3 blocks down from Ford's Theater. He had mud in his hair because that drunk had passed out in a gutter the night before.
What?
President.
Well, he was the vice president.
Yeah.
Just the board.
He was passed out in a gutter, drinking too much Southern Comfort, and drinking some moonshine.
I don't think they had that back then, but he was drinking something.
It's like John Adams said, the vice presidency is the most useless job in the history of man. They're just just listening.
They're a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
it's like a backup quarterback. It's like
third string quarterback holding the clipboard. They were only vice presidents were only used to be put on the ticket in order to gain votes. So that's why they put Johnson on the ticket, because Lincoln's vice president before Johnson was Hannibal Hamlin.
What was his name?
Hannibal Hamlin.
That sounds like a hamburger place. Like, come on down to Hannibal Hamlin.
It sounds like a supervillain's alter ego name.
The alliteration, like Peter Parker.
Right.
David Dunn.
That son of a bitch Hannibal Hamlin put a nuke down below one of the football stadiums. He's going to blow it up during one of the games. We have to stop him.
Crowbarring this in, but as a side note, you guys saw the movie Glass, right?